On March 13, 1964, in the quiet Kew Gardens neighborhood of Queens, New York, a brutal murder occurred that would go on to reshape psychology, emergency response, and the way society understood human behavior. Kitty Genovese, a 28-year-old bar manager, was returning home from work in the early hours of the morning when she was attacked just steps from her apartment building. Her assailant, Winston Moseley, a 29-year-old machine operator, stabbed her multiple times during a prolonged assault that lasted nearly half an hour. Genovese cried out for help as the attack unfolded, and according to initial reports, the commotion was heard by numerous neighbors. Moseley fled the scene after an interruption, only to return minutes later and finish the attack. Genovese later died from her injuries before help arrived in time to save her. In the days following the murder, the New York Times published a story claiming that 37 witnesses had seen or heard the attack and failed to intervene or call the police. The story sparked national outrage and horror, prompting widespread discussion about apathy, urban indifference, and the erosion of community responsibility in modern cities. The case quickly became the foundation for a new area of psychological research. Social psychologists John Darley and Bibb Latané began studying what they termed the bystander effect, the phenomenon in which individuals are less likely to offer help in an emergency when other people are present, due to a diffusion of responsibility. The Genovese case became the most cited real-world example of this theory for decades. Winston Moseley was arrested just days after the murder, following an unrelated burglary investigation. He confessed not only to killing Kitty Genovese, but to 2 additional murders. He was convicted and sentenced to death, a sentence later commuted to life in prison, where he remained until his death in 2016. In the years that followed, journalists and researchers revisited the original New York Times account and found significant inaccuracies. The number of witnesses who could have clearly seen the attack was far smaller than 37. And several people did, in fact, attempt to call the police, though communication systems at the time were slow and disorganized. The exaggerated narrative had taken on a life of its own, becoming more myth than fact. Despite the inaccuracies, the case left a lasting and tangible impact. Public outcry over the delayed response contributed directly to the development of the 911 emergency system in the United States, designed to give citizens a single, fast way to report crimes in progress. The murder of Kitty Genovese remains one of the most studied cases in criminal psychology, not only for the brutality of the crime itself, but for what it revealed and ultimately distorted about how people respond to the suffering of others. It stands today as a permanent reminder that the line between witnessing tragedy and acting against it can determine whether a life is saved or lost.